Aloha mai kākou e nā haumana. Today is a beautiful day with some warm sunshine. And guess what? I got a special guest, Mehana o Kala Hind.
Aloha.
How are you?
Aloha kākou.
Today's topic is Oʻahu, and we're here at one of the most famous spots in Oʻahu. We're in Waikiki. Can you share with us, Mehana, a little bit about this aina?
Sure. Oʻahu is made up of 6 districts, yeah? And let's start there first. So we have Waikiki, we have Ko, we have Mamala. You know, today those areas are respectively called Honolulu Harbor. Yeah, and as we push out, so these are areas that our people were centers of commerce and government. When our ali'i moved, when the monarchy, the Kamehameha monarchy moved over from Lahaina, they came right into town, came into Ko, and established here.
But if we move to our next district on Oʻahu, what is that? What is that moku?
Ewa.
Ewa, okay.
Yeah, it's the Ewa district, and it goes from about Halawa on our island all the way out to Honouliuli.
Wow,
or
that's
the
big.
areas
That's a
today
big moku.
we consider to be Kapolei and Makakilo and all of that.
Okay.
That would be the cutoff line on that side. And what they was famous for in Ewa was these mass amounts of fish ponds that surrounded the area that we call Pearl Harbor today.
Wow.
Yeah, what our kupuna called Pu'uloa. Yeah, so there was a lot of fish ponds, and that's where on this side of the island, in the Kona and Ewa districts, that's where we got a lot of our fish from, a lot of our fish food. There was a lot of fresh water that came down from up Mauka, which fed those estuaries there. So very famous there.
Now you talked about the vai in Ewa. What kind of vai are we talking about?
Well, all the areas in Ewa that carry the vai names, from Waiau, Waiava, Waikele, Waipio, Waipahu.
Ooh, not Waipahu, but Waipahu.
We say Waipahu today, but it's actually Waipahu. Yeah, the shooting waters. Yes. Because there are so many wells, there were so many fresh springs that came out of that area down there. So all this fresh water comes down from Manana, aka Pearl City, today, and the rest of the Ko'olau Mountains feed down into this estuary we call Pu'uloa. So our next district is Waianae.
Waianae.
Yes, Waianae.
Awesome.
And it starts from Nanakuli all the way to Ka'ena. Yeah, and in this district, it's known for being very dry, actually, but there is a lot of water there.
Really?
Yeah, and it's well known for its fishing grounds that are out there. Yeah, and so the famous kind of fish that we think of is the anai, or the mullet fish.
Okay, Waianae.
Yeah, Waianae.
Okay.
Also famous for its opelu and its akule and its ahi and just all of this really, really ono fish. Yeah. The Waianae district also has something very unique to it. It's one of the only districts that actually starts on one side of the mountain range, crawls up over the mountain range, and ends up on the other side.
Wow.
What we now know as Wahiawa today, it should actually belong to the Waianae district, the Waianae Moku.
So if I'm in Wahiawa, I'm actually in Waianae.
Yes, you are.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing how that happens.
Amazing.
Yeah? And so the most famous place on that side of the island that's included in here is Kukaniloko.
No kidding.
Kukaniloko was seen for many generations to our kupuna as the center of this moku. And so important that ali'i women would try and give birth there. Yeah, they would be taken there specifically to give birth, and if their child was born there, that chief was one of the highest ranking chiefs around.
So Waianae has really a famous spot in Kukaniloko.
Yes, that comes over the mountain and ends up on the other side of the mountain. And so when we say Mauka of Waianae, yeah, we can actually go not only up to the mountains, but over the mountain. And all of those resources were included in Waianae's basket of resources for our island. And so our next moku starts right from there, right from that point, and it's Waialua. Yeah.
Waialua.
Yeah, and Waialua, if we stay out at Ka'ena, very famous for our leina, or Ka'uhane, which is out there, which is famous for our people in our Ikobaka Hiko. Used to go there, and that's where, when we passed on, our souls would meet our aumakua out there and go beyond. And so when you stand at Ka'ena Point, which is very beautiful, you can actually stand at one point and see the coast of Waianae and see the coast of Waialua.
That's a
very unique space. Waialua, in more modern times, it was famous for sugar. So there's a lot of people who live out there now who are remnants of the plantation era, but also their kai. Yeah, the kai out on that side
right.
for providing fish for people, because the distance between the kai and the mountain is very close out there. Yeah, so there was still farming going on because there's a lot of fresh water coming down from Ka'ala, but a lot of fish stock out in that ocean.
Any surfing out there too?
Yes, surfing was great.
Small waves.
Big waves. So from Waialua, we move into one of its most famous spots down there, and that's Haleiwa, and going all the way out into the North Shore. And it actually takes us all the way to Waianae Bay, you know, probably the most famous surf spot in all of the world for its massive waves. Yeah. So all of this is in Waialua.
Okay, if we move from Waialua, we move. What is our next moko after that?
Ko'olauloa.
Ko'olauloa. So loa as in
long, and the ko'olau is referring to the mountain range that's out there. So we have Ko'olauloa, which is the long mountain range, and then Ko'olaupoko is next, which is the shorter mountain range. But while we're in Ko'olauloa, what's fascinating about Ko'olauloa is a lot of our valley systems, our ahupua'as are pie-shaped, most identifiable in the Ko'olauloa area.
Beautiful.
Just beautiful areas, and everything that you would need for a group of people to survive was encased in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So the ecosystem in Ko'olauloa, perfect to feed and house a huge population of people.
Awesome.
Even though today, not that much people live out there, at one time, that was where many of our people lived because of what it offered.
We go from Ko'olauloa, which is the longer one, then we talked about Poko.
Yes.
And what is Ko'olaupoko famous for?
So Ko'olaupoko starts at Ka'aala, and Kualoa is where the breaking point is between Ko'olauloa and Ko'olaupoko. And so Kualoa, yeah, famous in our history for being the place where if you had rulership over Kualoa, yep,
you had
the kingdom is yours. Yes.
You had it. That was like
so
the
that was where Ali'i wanted to get control over, you know, and it was that kind of a special place, yeah. And so special that when canoes from visitors would pass Kualoa, in honor of that place, they would lower their sails.
Why is Kualoa so special?
You know, there's a lot of different things along its ridgeline, like Kaneohe. You know, so for us here, Kaneohe is the space which it first greets the sun. Yeah. Wow. So once you come around that Kualoa point, that Kualoa part, you are facing east now.
Wow.
Yeah. So you are facing the eastern side of our island, and our connection to the other islands more up towards the southeast of us. So Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Hawaii Island are all in that direction.
Awesome. So that was a sacred place back then, still a sacred place today.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, okay, we move around from Ko'olaupoko to now where do we when we turn?
So Ko'olaupoko, actually, let me go back a little bit. Includes Kaneohe Bay. Right?
Wow, okay.
So we have from Kualoa to Kaneohe Bay, and another group of Wai names. Yeah, Waikane, Waiahole, Waihe'e, all of those areas along there, famous again for fresh water, yeah, which fed right into Kaneohe Bay, which was the icebox for that district. Yeah?
Right.
Plentiful of fish. Yeah, and then you move over from Kaneohe or from He'ia, Kaneohe, and you get right back to Waimanalo.
Wow,
yeah, and our eastern gate of our island.
Wow, man, that was a cool huaka'i around the island of Oʻahu. You can see why Oʻahu is so kaulana, yeah?
Yes, very. We call it Ka'onohi o na Kai'e Walu. Yeah.
Wow.
Center of the 8 oceans.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you folks do more exploring in these different moku of Oʻahu. This is Keola and Mihana. Aloha.
Aloha.